Hello, Lord Scorpio here. I am back with a very important subject that has yet to be touched on with accuracy. There's a lot of talk, but there's not enough facts coming forward. So I wanted to go ahead and speak on the issue of California homelessness. I want to speak about some facts, not about what I think, but what I know and with receipts. And I challenge anybody to try and debunk my facts with receipts. And I'm sure there won't be anyone that can stand firm on anything that they try to come forward to debate my facts. Now, all of the chatter and nonsense about all these homeless people being on drugs, that's false. You'll have to understand why and how someone became homeless before people begin to judge and dictate their own reasons as to why that person is homeless. There's many things that happen before a person reaches the curb, per se. Okay? There's a domino effect that isn't being touched on, that isn't being talked about. All I'm hearing in these news reports are the aftermath and what homelessness, the effects of homelessness has done to people, which has caused people to turn to drugs. If they weren't already on drugs, they tend to turn to drugs as an escapist. Because in order to endure those conditions, you have to be out of your mind. You can't be sane and have a peaceful sleep on a concrete for 8 hours or 6 hours. You have to be inebriated. You have to have a drink. You have to have a smoke. You have to have something in order to get through the night. So when people say the homeless people are on drugs, they didn't all start off like that. Matter of fact, a lot of homeless people that I've met just in life along the way, I talk to everybody because I need to know where you been in order to know where I'm going. Do you understand? I never think I'm too good in order to get a fruitful conversation out of the highs and out of the lows. I met homeless people that were electricians. I met homeless people that used to work for the government. I met homeless people that were a victim of the government, that were a victim of gang stalking. You have people that have been victimized by the government on the street. That's not a mystery. You have people that were successful that became a direct target due to their success that are homeless. You have people that were victimized during the crack era in the 80s when the CIA supplied and dropped off guns and crack in the ghetto and the black communities in order to sabotage the reputation and the credibility of black people striving. Okay? Let's not forget, black people were civilized during the era of Martin Luther King. They worked. They were tight-knit. They fed their families the best that they could, despite the animosity and the strife and discrimination. The only difference between Dr. Martin Luther King and Malcolm X was that Dr. Martin was about peace and compromise. Malcolm X was about peace, compromise, and self-protection, because he knew that nothing would appease the Caucasian. Okay? The supremacists, a Caucasian that considers themselves a supreme. That would be an ego-driven individual who claims themselves to be white. Okay? And just because you're white doesn't mean that you're a supremacist. That means someone who thinks they're above everyone, with an ego complex of that they are entitled to everybody else's inheritance, including their own, and no one else has a say-so because they feel that it is their world. That is a false pretense of mental issues that stems from racism, discrimination, and emotional and psychological abuse. Okay? After that era, when CIA successfully destroyed Dr. Martin and Malcolm X, it moved into the peace and love era, no war. That was the 70s, where the segregation kind of, by then it kind of died out. I guess because it was bloodshed, they were happy they were able to sacrifice some pretty powerful black leaders who were successful in teaching peace and love and educating their people to be something. We moved into a non-segregated era of peace and love, where people of different nationalities were able to come together and be peaceful, and the CIA destroyed that. Then we moved into the 80s, where, black people had to resist the more psychological abuse and unnecessary harassment, collusion, suppression, okay, to where we wanted more than what they were willing to provide, what they were willing to allow. Okay? Keeping people of color at a minimum stance. We wanted more from being suppressed. And there was a bit of resistance. And so the CIA then stepped in again during the 80s and decided to drop off crack cocaine and guns. That is not a mystery. Then you have another uprise where, we have NWA was established. Rap became a little bit more aggressive. We had to fight the power, the dark negative powers that be, in order to receive reciprocity. Okay? We had to fight the negative powers that be, because they came in and destroyed the neighborhoods. The striving ghettos. The ghettos you see now, they weren't the same ghettos that existed then. They weren't filthy. They became filthy. When you introduce crack, it causes dysfunction. Black people weren't always dysfunctional. History has already proven that. I think black people functioned very well during slavery. It took a strong black race to survive slavery and continuous oppression, years of continuous oppression, and still have to validate accepted to be validate themselves in order to be accepted today. So it's pretty clear that we're capable and competent because we survived. That's enough. And let's speak on the subject of homelessness, because Black people are the repetitive people who are falling into the issues or into the hands of the street due to chronic homelessness. And it's not all about drugs that they claim. Okay? So when someone is so quick to judge and say, oh, the people that are on the streets are drug addicts, that's false. It's a false narrative, and they've probably worked for the government and they're not paid to tell the truth. That is the truth. Now, let's speak on the groups of people that fall into the hands of homelessness. We have a new introduction of a group that is the COVID. I would consider that the COVID or the pandemic group that has come in, that have become a victim of homelessness. We have the veterans who were homeless for many years, served the country, World War II, even the 9/11 veterans, people that have been physically harmed in battle, lost limbs, become hurt, physically hurt or disabled, have become a victim of homelessness. There were not enough services. The government turned their back on them. Veterans just received government help and funding just a few years ago. They were the majority of the homeless that were on the street. And we're talking about backdated veterans that were homeless from World War II. That's a long time. It's a long time to be homeless and not to receive any type of help. They now have priority when it comes to applications, employment applications as well. Okay? And these are people that were on a fixed income who had disabilities that could not afford the prices in California. We also have the mentally incompetent individuals who are incapable of taking care of themselves. They don't even know what day or time it is. They are completely out of it. They have no control of it. They need help and assistance. They need to be in a facility where they can be cared for. I found out this past year that there is no facility that cares for them on a regular basis. They only have winter shelters that come around once a year that's willing to house them for only a few months. And after that, they're back on the streets. Most of these people have a payee that receives their checks. They don't even see the money, which is why a lot of them they're already incompetent. They have no idea that they have money that belongs to them that's being stolen. So you have people in position that are signed up as payees, even in government entities who are signed up as a payee to pay these people so that they can care for themselves. They're not even receiving the money. Even if they did have the money is not enough for them to pay for rent. A single is $800 up to $1,300 to $1,500. A one-bedroom in California starts at about $1,200 to $1,700. Two bedrooms starts off at about $1,500 up to $2,000. And that's minimum. Okay? Fixed income is only $800. $880 SSI and Social Security, you may be lucky if you can get about $900 out of them. Okay? So they can pay for rent, but they won't be able to eat. They won't be able to clothe themselves. They won't be able to pay for utilities. So it's easy for someone to say, oh, yeah, the price of housing in California is expensive. Yeah, we're paying for weather and all that. It's easy for them to say that because they probably work for the government who pays them to be a puppet. It's easy to say someone wants to be lazy and they want to be on drugs. It's easy to say that, but where are the facts? We have retirees that can't pay their rent. They don't have enough to retire. That's why you see grannies and shit still working, because it's not enough. And then we have false inflation. Yes, I did a reading earlier today and it said that that was false. Inflation, there's no need to inflate just because someone is warring in Ukraine. Oh, they're warring over there. Let's start an inflation. But what does that have to do with us? How about you get your desk and you go move to Ukraine, and then you can go, sing hoorahs and shit with the military army over there, because that shouldn't be our concern. We should be worried about what's going on here. And at the end of the day, it's nothing more than a distraction. The majority of people on the street are not crackheads. They are mentally incompetent individuals that need to be in a safe facility where someone can help assist them. They got facilities for people who commit crimes. Why you don't have facilities for people who are mentally impaired mentally incapable of taking care of themselves? They don't know what day of time it is. And because it's not a profit, because it's a non-profit, and you don't get it, and the government doesn't get any profit from it, they're a problem. You feel that there's no reason to invest in these people. That's why. There are no facilities that care for these people. That's why they're on the street. So there is a big misconception that all these people you see walking around, completely out of it and oblivious that, oh, they're on drugs. No, a lot of them are mentally incompetent. They literally have nowhere to go. There is no facility. They have 48 hours. They got 72. They got a 14-day hold. That's about it. There is no facility where they can stay and be sheltered. Okay? And then you have the population, yes, that is on drugs. Can we stop? I want the government to stop saying, oh, they're on drugs. Yeah, they want to be on drugs. That's why they're homeless. You guys, the government, the CIA is the same people that drop drugs off in the ghetto. You destroyed these people's lives. And you're the same people that are pointing your finger and say, yeah, they're on the street because they want to be. They weren't on the street in the 80s. Everybody had homes in the 80s. What has changed? The only thing that has changed is the increase in immigration. Let's talk about the 15-year wait list at the Housing Authority. That was 7 years ago that message was playing on Los Angeles Housing Authority waitlist line. That was 7 years ago. I'm sure it's up to 22 to 25 years of a wait, of a hold in order for your name to be called. Hell, it might be more. And on that list, you are competing with immigrants in order to receive housing. I think whoever is facilitating this is negligent. There should be two lists. If you are a immigrant or if you got a visa, you should be on a separate waiting list than people who have an actual citizenship. People who are natural citizens, citizen by birthright. Because, first of all, they live here. There should be no competition you shouldn't have to compete with someone who doesn't live here. And all that lie, oh, homeless people must come from other states for the sunshine. That's an excuse. You have a lot of people that live here who are not being called on the wait list. You tell somebody somebody go to get help and you tell them they have 22 years to wait on a wait list, 15 to 22 years to wait on a wait list. And you check back on them and see what happens during that time. I'm sure a lot. When you have a system that pays low wages, that does not compete with the price of housing, And the cost of minimum wage is $15. Most jobs are not paying $15 an hour as a minimum wage. They're still paying $12, $13, $14, and $15. Not everybody is paying $14 or $15 an hour. So you have high rental costs or living costs and low paying wages. If rent has just been brought up to, if the minimum wage has just been brought up to $15 an hour, people were practically making slave wages. $10, $11, $12, $13 an hour. That's pretty much what they were making. $13 an hour was minimum wage. We just got up to $15. But they've been outdated for so long, this has contributed to the homeless crisis. This is the contribution, outdated wages. How could someone pay rent, food, and electricity, put gas in a car off of $12 an hour? Where are they going to stay? For a one bedroom, it's $1,200. They can't afford it. Not even with $13 an hour. So if we've just been brought up to $15 an hour, and no, everybody isn't paying $15 an hour. If we've just been brought up to $15 an hour, that's 15 times 8 times 4. That's $2,400 a month. Okay? Right? Let me do the math. Let me double check this. Let's see. 15 times 8. Let me see. Let's see. That's 24. Let's see. Let's see. 15 times 8 times 5, actually, times 4. Yeah, that's 24. That's $2,400. So $2,400 a month people are making. And if they have children and they have a 2-bedroom, and the bedroom is anywhere from $1,500 to $1,700 to $2,000 easily. That's minimum, $2,000 for a 2-bedroom. They have $2,400 to live off. $2,000 of that just went to rent. And so they are expected to... Why the fuck is you by my car? So they are... Why are you by my car? Thank you. So they are expected to... Motherfucker ran from across the lot and then it was standing in front of my car. Yeah, get the fuck from in front of my car. So anyways, people are expected to pay $2,000 in rent and live off $400. That means cover utility costs, water, electricity, and buy food and put gas in their car with $400. Where? So people can't even afford to have children anymore. That's X'd off the list. And if you have children, it's now a burden. Okay? Yeah. It's now a burden. They're not. The government is, because they're creating issues. And then you live in a world where they say, oh, there's no segregation. Oh, there's no discrimination. Yeah, it's so easy and beneficial for you to say that when you're so entitled, so privileged. Okay? While they're at the top, they give the crumbs to the Latinos, and the Latinos hold on to it, and they don't give black people anything. So there's scarce resources for black people because opportunity comes it's not a dime a dozen for them, that's for damn sure. Okay? And that's the truth. The Caucasians allocate the money They take what they want. They pass it down. The Latinos just hoard the resources for their people. They make sure their people is taken care of, and whatever is left, the black people scavenge. I got receipts, so I dare you to fight me on that. You're going to have to prove a lot to me. Because as far as I'm concerned, several years ago, the Los Angeles County Housing Authority was under investigation because their executive manager, director, was allowing his employees to choose Latinos on the wait list to be a priority over black people who were waiting just as long. The majority of people on the street are homeless black people. So, when they say it's because of the drugs, the people want to be on drugs, who put them on drugs? The CIA. And the CIA is the same one that's standing back, pointing the finger like they're the issue. No, the issue is the government not paying people for stable housing. All they can do is complain, contact Fox News and say, oh, are you guys willing to open up your houses to the homeless? We need help. We're all out of answers. How are you all out of answers and you have the funding, you just don't want to pay for it because it's a nonprofit? The only thing that you guys are concerned about is the profit. It's literally a joke. They're literally calling into the news broadcasting station and making this a joke. Why don't you guys open up your house? I'm not going to give them the federal dollars. That's basically what they're saying. F you, America. Black America. Okay? And have the audacity to show San Francisco Caucasians homeless on the street who appear to be hiding under a blanket smoking crack. All they decided to do is show crackheads, Caucasian crackheads, smoking up under a blanket and stuff and talking about, I want you to open your doors. No. You're not showing real stories of people. I met people along the way. I met electricians that were homeless. I met people that were victim of the government that were homeless. I met people that worked for the government, became homeless. Anybody can become homeless. Homelessness isn't a discriminatory. People are that leave people in those conditions that are inhumane. And when you have a private sector that is in charge of overseeing the health and social conditions of America and leave them in inhumane conditions, they have done the public a disservice. They selectively choose not to help these individuals because they prefer that money to go in their pocket. There are not enough shelters. Why? You want to complain about this is what I don't understand. You don't have enough shelters to shelter the homeless. Then you outlaw being homeless in California. Had the audacity to make it a law to be homeless. And you don't have enough shelters. That's just like, hey, okay, you can be homeless, but you can't be homeless here. Get out. You have people that were born here. People ain't running here for no weather or like this is some, I don't know what they're trying to, I don't know what that is when they say people are coming here for the weather. No, a lot of people were born here and you left them to die. Veterans all the way down. Okay? So don't act like you don't know about what's going on. And you do. And you do. So They don't have enough shelter, and then they want to complain about having to build affordable housing. Let's talk about this. We have the population of about 3 to 4 states in one state. They're refusing to build enough affordable housing. There is absolutely not enough. There wasn't enough to begin with, but that was a part of the plan. They wanted people to move to the South. Okay? So for many years, they have omitted obligated duties to provide affordable housing. And all they want to do now is sit and complain about having to build affordable housing. Well, it takes 2 years, and you sat there and built an entire stadium for thousands of people who don't even live here, who are flying in for a game. How inhumane is that? So we have an empty stadium nobody's living in, but they're going there for a luxury. See, the deal is they're only interested in buying property that they can make money off or with. They don't want to buy property for a nonprofit organization or homeless people. Okay, they don't want to buy property for them in order to properly house them. That means they're being selective. That's racism. You selectively chose to omit your obligated duties. Isn't that part of OGC's regulations of overseeing and making sure the health and the safety and welfare of others is taken care of? Isn't that LA County Board of Supervisors' job? So I did a reading. Kathryn Barger oversees LA County Board of Supervisors. And I did a quick reading to find out what's going on. We had a lot of stuff coming up. We had probe, secretly. There's a lot of discourse, political discourse with this organization. We also have, there's a lot of secrecy with the commissioners. And they're using the police to distract what's going on, making it seem like the homeless people are the problem. No, what recently I've witnessed is that this past year, 2, 3, the murders of homeless people has become very aggressive. It's not the homeless people that are murdering other homeless people. The same CIAs that were setting this up are the same CIAs that are setting up hitmen to come into the homeless encampments and communities and kill people. That is a fast way to get rid of them. There was there's quite a few story headlines on the news headlines. There were homeless people that were set on fire, okay, while sleeping. And then what I don't understand, if somebody has created a small fire in order to keep themselves warm, why is LA County upset when they're not even providing a warm place for these people to come stay? How are they offended when a small fire gets out of hand? And if it doesn't get out of hand and someone homeless intentionally starts it, you know what that means? That's a clear message. The homeless person clearly states it's a loud cry for help. You didn't give a fuck about me. Why should I give a fuck about you? Burn this bitch up. It's a very bold statement. When you turn your back on America, America demonstrates the same. They will turn their back on you and give you your ass to kiss. You have people that have homes, have apartments and houses and shit they can go to, and they eat in public and they throw their trash right out on the fucking ground. So entitled. I don't get that. That's the most nastiest, disrespectful shit to do. Eat a meal in your car and just throw the shit out on the curb, you know. And then when they have no home and they eat something, they put it on the ground. Oh, it's a disgrace. What do you want them to run down the street and find a fucking trash can and you treating them like trash and you got them outside on the fucking hard ass pavement and forcing them to deal with that shit? How you expect them to get through the night without any type of alcohol or any type of fucking drugs? You want them to sleep on a hard ass pavement and be like, you're on drugs. Yeah. How can you get through the night sane on a concrete pavement? Because you don't have enough money for a bed. Because you don't have enough money for a home. And then if they sleep on the bus stop, they can go to jail for that because they're taking up space. I mean, none of this is making. It's all about pointing the finger than fixing the problem. The problem is they've stolen from the homeless community. They get 4 allocated fundings dropped into the account every year. 4 quarters. And they steal the money and allocate just a few to say they've done something, just to justify. So in this reading, Kathryn Barger is an LA County board member for the 5th District for the homeless population. She oversees LA County board members, and this is what I have. I'm going to tell you what I have. Give me one moment. I have, there's a critical investigation or discord that's going on within LA County Board. Secretly, the commissioners are trying to distract the public from what's really going on because they know that they have not been allocating these funds appropriately. We also have, they know that time is up in regards to them having to face the music and what they've done, what they've created, and what they haven't done appropriately. It looks like a lot of the money had been traded into Bitcoin, okay? And Kathryn, it looks like Facebook has been watching your movement as well. They know very well. I don't know if you're doing any business over Bitcoin. I also seen something about a small business that you're taking money that belongs to the public and you're sending that money into a private or small business that you own. Also, this money is also being funneled to Bitcoin in order to hide where the money is. So it's technically not sitting. I don't know if this is stock, bonds, investments, or if this is a private Bitcoin account. But a lot of this money that is being hidden is off the record. And it says you all have lied. There's a lot of lies. You guys are traitors, and you all are embezzling public funds. Quite a few members. That's what these big corporations do. They get with you guys and figure out how to embezzle the money. This has been a long-standing scheme for quite some time, and you all know why you're in position. The inflation is false. It's simply to create more revenue for you all, so you can continue to embezzle, keep the money, and take. Apparently, it looks like there's a loss that's going on, so they're trying to make up by inflation. So every time there's a loss on their end, they they generate a false narrative to inflate. We also have SpaceX out here. So it looks like SpaceX is either it looks like they were watching. SpaceX came out because anybody that files a complaint against LA County Board, they get on a watch list, and SpaceX harass, spies, and watches their movements. For money. And also they could be, this organization could be under investigation for an arrest, because it looks like the police is involved, and they could have some proof. I don't know, Facebook, there's some, why did Facebook come up? The website has credible proof, of the, it says Gemini vacate, so parallel universe, they know what's going on. Facebook is involved, SpaceX, the police. I guess the police is involved in hushing this, or they might possibly get donations from the board in order to keep silence. The police has a record of this information. There's been some things that has been reported. Some things have been illegally sold. I don't know if these are illegal contracts or just quite a few. We also have agenda out here. The agenda is a lie. It's all a facade. These people are all in position in the board to just stand there and look good, but they're all embezzling money. That's their job. So they sold their soul, in other words. So that's the agenda. If you ever want to know why there's a homeless crisis in California, you just look at the commissioners that are in charge of the finances who are refusing to allocate those funds. I do have receipts of that, and I can prove everything. I can also prove that when you are, let's just say you're a paycheck away from becoming homeless and you really need some help, if you go in there and ask for help, they will completely discriminate against you and will not help you if you do not look like you just rolled your mat up off the street. And it's interesting that when you do look like you've rolled your mat from up off the street and you walk in there, they're very judgmental, and they act like, all you homeless people are the same. You're all drug addicts. So I really feel that they keep replaying and projecting a false narrative in order to get people to believe a distraction, a false narrative than what really is. And if they don't know what it really is, they probably shouldn't comment on it, because they're doing the public a disservice by lying and spreading lies that are contrary and contradicting to the truth. So I got facts and receipts on everything I say. So if anybody want to challenge this, the floor is open. And most likely they can't and they won't. So I'm signing off on this. If I didn't cover anything, please let me know. But it looks like I've covered just about everything. In the other video, it looks like they were tampering with my phone line. So apparently YouTube, when you go live, they like to mute certain words and information. And, I don't have time for those games. So looks like I'm going to have to record off the air and then just upload my videos, because I just paid my bill the other day, and I got plenty of data, so I don't know what the problem is. So it's pretty evident that the truth hurts, and that's what they choose to hide. So signing out. Wish you well.